Hello, welcome to SkyThinker, where gentle stories touch the heart. Maybe you are tired today. Maybe your heart has some unnameable gaps. But in each story tonight, I believe you will find something. A ray of light, a reminder, or simply a peaceful breath in the midst of a busy life. Kind things still exist. New beginnings can always start from very small things. And you always deserve beautiful dreams. Now, I will tell you a story, gently so you can listen and let your heart drift. In a small town where life flows as slowly as a lazy river in the summer afternoon, there is a park called Willow. There are rows of maple trees that turn red in the fall, a small pond reflecting the sky, and an old stone bench by the path. Every morning, when the sunlight has just barely crept through the trees, Mr. Walter is there. He sits in his familiar chair, holding a cup of hot coffee bought from the corner shop. Next to him is his chubby, gentle dog Bailey, who always rests his head on his feet. No one really knew what Walter did. They only knew he was a fireman, living alone after his wife died of illness many years ago. He didn't make a fuss, he didn't complain. He just sat there, steadily, quietly, like part of the park. People thought he was lonely, but the truth was different. He didn't sit alone. He listened. One day, it was a boy who had been scolded by his parents for bad grades, sitting alone on the bench crying. Walter didn't say anything, just handed him a cookie. The boy took it silently. Then a few weeks later, he came back, this time to show off his first bee in his life. Another day, it was the widow sitting there sighing, holding an old album. He just said, "She, my wife, likes maples. Every year I sit here, waiting for the leaves to fall, to miss her a little more." Unknown to everyone, Mr. Walter once saved a little girl from a burning house, but could not save her mother. That was what made him silent for nearly 3 years, blaming himself, closing himself off. Then one day, when he almost wanted to give up, that letter came. A shaky handwriting from a 17-year-old girl. "I don't know your name, but thanks to you I am alive, and I will live for my mother. I want to be a doctor." That letter kept him going. From then on, he chose the park as his refuge, a place where no one asked him for advice. But sometimes, people need a patient gaze, a non-judgmental presence, to have the courage to continue. Then the doctor appeared, the man who had lost his way after his wife died. Walter did not ask questions, did not comfort. He only told stories and listened. Until one day, the doctor did not come. A week later, a letter arrived. Handwritten, addressed to the exact bench. The address was Mr. Walter, Willow Park, under the big maple tree. "I am back at the hospital. Today, I held the hand of my first patient since losing my wife. No shaking, no fear. I remember sitting next to you, quietly but comfortingly. You don't know you saved me, but I do. Thank you for being there." That year, the government replaced the bench, but they did not dare to remove the old one. They placed it in the town library under a small plaque for those who quietly saved the world one at a time by their presence. Mr. Walter still sits in Willow Park every morning. Still the same coffee. Still the same dog Bailey. Still the same gentle nod to strangers passing by. Someone asked, "Are you waiting for someone?" He just smiled. "No. But if anyone needs a place to stop, I'm here." The following year, winter came early. Before the maple leaves had fallen, a light snow fell. Willow Park was quieter than ever. But Walter was still there. He was in his thick coat, clutching a hot cup of coffee. Bailey curled up at his feet, snoring softly in the warm air. One morning, a young girl appeared. She sat 2 benches away from him, her face down, her hands holding the phone so tightly that it turned white. Without looking up, she began to cry, silently, as if to hide both her pain and herself. Walter did not come near. He just gently took a handkerchief from his pocket, old but clean, and placed it on the back of a nearby chair. Then he returned to his own chair and sat down again. The girl took it, wiped her tears, said nothing. But the next day she came back, sat closer, and on the 3rd day she spoke. "Do you believe that people can be so wrong that they cannot be forgiven?" Walter was silent for a moment, then replied, "Yes, but I also believe that sometimes forgiveness does not start with others, but with yourself." The girl told him, haltingly, that she had just broken off the only relationship she had left with her father after a bitter argument. "He doesn't understand me, and I don't understand you." Walter didn't offer any advice, but the next morning he brought 2 sandwiches. He gave her one. He left the other empty next to her and said, "Every morning I save some for my wife, even though she's gone. Not because I forgot she was gone, but because I remember how she used to get upset when I ate alone." The girl laughed. For the first time. A few weeks later, she didn't come again. But the following year, on the 1st day of spring, she came back, this time with an older man, her hand clasped tightly in his. She whispered, "I called my father. He said if I just came back, everything could start over." Walter just nodded. He didn't say anything, but his eyes were as warm as the early spring sun. That summer, Walter began carrying a small leather notebook. Every time someone sat down next to him, he wrote a line. Not their name, not their story, but what they had learned by leaving. Grief doesn't need to be resolved. It just needs to be embraced. Silence isn't scary if you're not alone in it. Anyone can be a savior if they're willing to sit with someone who's drowning. The stone bench is now old again, though it was replaced less than 2 years ago. Because every day, it welcomes more people with the burden of life. And Mr. Walter is still there, not to fix anyone, but just to let them know that presence, however simple, can be a miracle.